Okay guys, I just pulled some things from my stash for this week's video. I have been doing Christmas crafts since September, so I gotta say I'm getting a little bit bored with it, and I've really got everything made that I needed to. So what I decided to do for this week's video, even though it's the 1st of December, I'm going to take a little break from Christmas crafting, and I've already started thinking about, as usual, the first of the year, how I want to get this mess organized. Please, I cannot believe I'm showing y'all this mess right now. Anyway, I want to get it organized, but I don't like to have clean organization, if that makes sense. I like to keep it a little bit more vintagey, a little bit more fun. So I've pulled out some things from my stash that I'm going to make over today to help me get my craft room organized. So if you're ready and you want to craft along with me, you can get all your supplies at susieonthefarm.com, and I know y'all got some stuff in your stash. So let's get started. So we're going to start with this train case first of all. It's not as old as the ones I usually find. It's a little bit newer, but still very good organizing. It's even got the keys. This one's an American Tourister. I have already cleaned this inside about as good as I can get it, and it's still a little dingy. It smells good, so I think I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to use this for my personal use. I thought this would be great for holding some jars in, and it even has its little tray, which I am going to paint it. I've tried to clean it, I can't. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint it. And I think this will be perfect for holding ribbon or thread, lace, things like that. And I can put all my little sewing notions here. And like I said, it even has the keys. I've never found one with the keys before, even though I don't think I'll ever need to lock it. So I'm going to start with the outside, and you know it's going to get painted. So I'm going to go with French eggshell on the outside of this. So I'm going to get this painted with Fusion French eggshell. So like I said, I am definitely getting my craft room organized. I have a whole overhaul planned for the first of the year, and I'm considering filming. So y'all let me know in the comments if organizing and revamping my craft room would be something that you're interested in watching. Normally when I venture away from thrift store makeovers, the views plummet on my YouTube, but it's just something I really feel the need to share. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. Okay, it's all painted up. I painted the entire thing. I also painted the inside of the tray, and everything is dry. I went through my transfer scraps. I found this. I believe this is from Brocante. I'm going to put it right here. And then these are all that I have left from Lost Garden, I think is what it's called. It's got all these vines and branches, and you can do them in whatever. But I'm going to go around the front and just let them be coming up here, and I will figure out how to put some on the top too. I absolutely love putting the Iron Orchid Design transfers over Fusion paint. Y'all, I literally painted this 30 minutes ago and let it dry naturally. I didn't have to apply a top coat because there is one in it. And now I'm having perfect release from this transfer with no paint lifting or anything. So if you're having problems with that, I do have quite a few people say that they have problems after they put a sealer. You really, really have to let that sealer that you add onto them dry a very long time. But with the Fusion paint, you really don't. That sealer dries so fast with the paint that you can just put your transfers right on. So that's helpful for me because I am quite impatient. I am loving how this is looking. I went all the way around just in that center part, and I decided for the top to keep it Pretty simple. And I'm just going to put this little swag here. And then finally, I'm going to distress the entire thing a little bit and do a coat of sealer. Because this is going to be for my personal use, I know how rough I am on things. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and distress it, because I know I'm probably going to drop it and bang it up and everything. So that way it looks intentional. It looks like part of the design, and I don't have to touch it up every time I get a little scratch on it. So I'm going to seal it up using Big Top, and this one's done. I want to give a little extra protection to those transfers, but the paint is already sealed. That I love storing all my little bits and pieces in, and I have many, are cigar boxes. And lucky for me, we have a very close friend who is a cigar connoisseur, and he saves me his cigar boxes, and some of them are just absolutely beautiful. They're made out of cedar, which are perfect for storing things in. And so I have picked 2 out of the many sitting in there on my shelf. And the hardest part, sorry, Weezy's got a bell on her collar and she's scratching right here. The hardest part about cigar boxes is removing the stickers. I've already done all that. I am finding a little bit of residue here. But I usually use Goo Gone or alcohol or something, and I'm able to get all that off. So I've got 2 of the same here. These will be perfect for storing like my paper ephemera that I already have ready for journals. That way I don't have huge boxes to look through, and I can do like by colors or by style, things like that. So I've got 2 here, and I'm gonna put a mold on the front just to cover this. And I'm gonna use clay, and I decided to use the vintage brooches mold. It has these little brooches on it, and this one's perfect, and it even like mimics the look on this cute little closure these boxes have. So I'm gonna do 2 of those with IOD clay. And first I'm gonna dust this little mold with some cornstarch. My clay is quite wet because somehow it had kind of dried out, so I had put a wet paper towel in with it, and I guess I left it in there too long. So I really want to make sure that I have cornstarch to keep that from sticking in my mold. I'm just going to work it in my hands, and then I'm just going to press it into the mold. And if you've never used an IOD mold before, they're so easy. Even if you don't have a lot of hand strength, if you get your clay good and soft like this, it's so easy. It has this little micro rim, which makes cleaning up that back edge simple. I just take my thumb and I press it towards the outside edge. Use my fingers to clean up any of those edges. And then to flip it out, all you do, you just need a little gravity, and it comes right out. So like I said, my clay is a little wet, but that is going to be perfect for right there. So I need to do 1 more. Next, I'm going to go ahead and glue both of these down using Tite Bond Quick and Thick. It's definitely my go-to glue for anything. Now, if I knew what I was going to be putting into these boxes right now, while this clay is wet, I would go ahead and use a letter stamp and make an impression into this. But since I don't know what I'm going to be putting in these yet, I'm just going to leave them, and I'll probably end up stamping it onto them once I do figure out exactly what's going in each of these boxes. So I'm going to finish gluing these down, and then I'm going to let the glue set up for probably about 15 or 20 minutes before I paint. All right, my glue is dried enough on these. My clay is still wet, but I'm going to paint these boxes now, and I've chosen to use Garden Sage. This is a DIY cottage color. Y'all know I love green. It is my favorite, so I had to do a green project. I'm going to paint the hardware and everything. I'm not doing the inside. It's perfectly perfect in there, and I'm going to leave it that way. I'm painting very softly because I'm going over this wet mold and I don't want to mess up any of its details. We'll definitely have to do a couple of coats. I'm not worried about this. It is indented, but these are, you know, cigar boxes. They have their own character on their own, and I don't mind a little bit of that showing. I don't even mind knowing that it was a cigar box. And who knows, I might even decide to put a little transfer there too. We'll see how they turn out. All right, so I'm going to get these painted. It'll take a couple coats, let them dry, and we'll come back and finish these. All right, these are practically finished. There's two things that I want to do, and one is I want to white wax. As you can see, there's a few white areas, but that's okay. I want to highlight all of those details anyway, so I'm just going to put a little white wax right here on the mold. This has a built-in sealer, so I don't need to seal this. This is really just for looks. I'll just go ahead and do the whole front. And because of that sealer, I'll be able to wipe back as much of that as I want as well. I have a dry paper towel for this, and like I said, once I figure out what's going in these, I'll just stamp directly onto this label. And then I also have a wet paper towel, so I'm going to take more off here. And just to keep everything uniform in color, I'll go ahead and do this on the whole box. But before I do that, the last thing that I want to do to finish these off, I cut down just a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper to fit perfectly there. That way, you know, when it's open, it looks a little bit prettier, and I'm going to use my paper glue for that. for my last organizing project, I picked up this Rolodex drawer. And I paid $4 for it. It's in pretty good shape. The inside has these nice dividers. It actually had Rolodex card in it. It's super clean. But all I need to do is make it a little pretty. And I don't want to have it say Rolodex on it. So I'm going to replace that handle. So I need to remove this one. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And remove this handle. So I actually have some of the same style, a little bit bigger, but I'm going to use that, and then you can actually slide you a little label down in there. But first I'm going to paint this. And I believe for that, well, I'm going to paint this white and this white because I'm going to decoupage on there. But for the rest of it, I'm going to paint it with oakum. I love this color, and it's going to go perfect with the decoupage paper that I've chosen. For the paper, I'm going to be using Crepe Collage. It's so rustic, so industrial, and I love it. Look at all of these fun things we can put on the front. I'm torn between the Caution, the Dynamite, or even that. I think that might look the best because that is where the handle is going to be. But we'll see. First thing I need to do is give a good white base coat where I'm going to be decoupaging, and everything else is getting oakum. All right, now that my paint is dry, I'm going to decoupage this onto the top, and I decided to go with I decided to go with Caution on the drawer. All right, so I've got this kind of placed where I want it. I've cut it, if you can tell, slightly larger than my box. And I'm going to start at the top. I'm using DIY liquid patina because it was the first one I found. I always use this or the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel. They're both excellent for Mod Podging. I can't even pick a favorite. And I'm going to put a good layer of it down, making me a little starter area. I do like to mist my decoupage paper. That just helps it lay down better, and I don't get any wrinkles that way. So I'm going to lay it in there, and I'm going to use my hand or a brayer. I have a brayer handy here, so I'm just going to use it to flatten it out. And then I'll go over that area again with another layer of the liquid patina. Using that brayer, made sure that my paper was making good contact with the liquid patina underneath. You really want that, especially around these edges. Okay, then I'm just going to continue my way down. I think I can just do it all in one go here, honestly. Don't want to have any air bubbles in there. Wrinkles are okay, especially I feel like in a project like this. Just make sure you don't have any air up underneath there. And because I'll be sitting things on top of this a lot, I'm assuming I'm going to let this layer dry, and I will do another layer, and then I will let this dry completely before we remove the excess. Okay. Now for the drawer. All right, so I want to use the caution for sure, but it's not quite big enough, so I've just got some extra little pieces. Since this is a collage anyway, it absolutely will not matter. We'll just put them on there. I'm just going to do it all in one go. This is not a big area. Perfect. Okay, we'll let this dry. Okay, I let this decoupage paper dry overnight. The only thing that's left to do is remove the excess. I'll have to touch up some oakum, probably do a little dark wax, and add the handle. To remove this paper, once it's dry, I just take a little finger sander and in a downward motion. Sometimes you have to go side by side if you got glue on the edge. And that did not need to happen. Okay, I'll have to show you how to fix that because it's not a problem. What happened was there was air under there, and when I sanded it, it pulled it up. That's why it's so important to make sure you don't have any air bubbles and you get it glued all the way to the edge. All right, just real quick. For this instance, this is really not a big deal because it's a worn out piece of wood anyway. It's not supposed to look perfect, but I am just gonna glue that little piece back down and then take a little sliver and also glue that right there. Also have a little spot right here that came open. Okay. And I'll go ahead and touch this up with oakum and do another coat. 3.5. I eyeballed that pretty good. So much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave me a comment below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. These all three turned out amazing, and now I'm so excited to get my craft room organized.